All right, well, I'm back to do another video on Action PC Baseball, and I decided to take some different approaches with this one. I'm going to get to playing an actual game based on some of the comments and that were left and some of the people that have reached out and messaged me. There are a few things I wanted to cover on this one, and a couple of things that I've uncovered that I didn't know about and had not explored fully in the game. One of the things I've done is I've set up a test league. And I think on the last video, I talked about how you can go into utilities here and just create a blank league. I've done that, named it FYF, which is my 5-year franchise, and made a test league. I've gone into the rules and set those rules up how I'd like them to be, and allowed the DH to be used, and went through and checked the outcome box that I want on, some things like that. So I've got that all set up. And what I wanted to do is bring 4 teams in and do my own playoff where I can show off a combination of how you can build a small schedule for the playoffs. And then we'll sim a couple of these games and then maybe pop in and play one of them. And the one thing I still have yet to do, and this could be for a future video and for me to learn, is using the playoff tree or the actual playoff format in the game. I haven't experimented with that in probably 8 to 9 years. And when I've run some of the playoffs, I've set them up in the scheduler and then kind of track the tree and who goes on to meet each other outside of that with my own charts. Um, I had somebody asked if you can build a schedule that way, and let's go ahead and bring 4 teams in here and set up a schedule for them if we were going to have, a final four of some great teams. So what we could do here is I look at rosters, got a wide open league. I can go up here to teams and import them. I'm going to go to my file. I've got a 5-year franchise AL and NL. Let's go right here to the AL. I'm going to bring 2 teams from the AL in here. Hey, why not this Babe Ruth Lou Gehrig Yankee team? That'd be always a fun one to demo and play. And let me find a Boston. I know we've got a bunch of Boston fans in the community. Let's see if I can find that 75 to 79 Boston. Let's get that. So I'm going to select those from the AL. I've got those 2 selected. I hit import teams, and here they come. I can choose where to put them. I've got them in League One right here. They can sit right there, and here they are. Now I'm going to go grab a couple more teams. This time I'm going to change it over and go to my NL disk. So I've got a FYF NL, my most recent one. Grab a couple teams in here that are see, maybe exciting to watch. I think I'm going to grab one of my favorite teams from the 70s, Cincinnati, if I can find them. There they are, 72 to 76 Cincinnati. And let's take that Dodger team that they were always battling it out. Import those 2 teams, yes. And now I can decide where I want to put those. I'm going to drag them right here into the other league just so I can visually see where they're at. And here we go. So I've got a division with those 2. And now let's go in here together. And I haven't done this in a while, so this will be my first run at this in a while, is setting up a schedule. So if we go to organize schedule, got no games built, right? And this is our default schedule right here. But we've got options here to build a series. So let's say I wanted to set up, and what I typically do is if I'm going to have a best of 7, I'll set up all 7 games, and then if somebody wins and I don't need the remaining games, I can go in there and delete those from the schedule. So let's set up, let's do a 2-3-2, right? So let's set up Boston will be a visitor at the Yankees, and we're going to do that for 2 games. Boom, I hit add series, and you'll see now it starts on the 31st. If I go to the first, go to the second, there's nothing, but what it did is it set that up to start on the 31st and go to November 1st. And you know what? While I'm thinking about this, I can go delete these, I believe. And this is no practice, folks, as you're seeing right here. Um, see what I got in October 31st. I've got this one. Let's get rid of that one's deleted. So now I've got nothing in here. I didn't like that because I think I'm going to go. Let me delete that one too. I just erase the entire schedule, clear it off, and let's start here. I want better weather, so I'm going to go to September 1st. And let's pick them, Boston at New York for 2 games, and we'll do Cincinnati at LA, 2 games. So you can see on the 1st and 2nd, I'm going to give them an off day, then we'll travel and start a 3-game series on the 4th. So now I'll have New York going at Boston for 3. And who did I have back here? I'll get Cincy at home. On the 4th, I'll do 3. Cincy's at home, LA, add that series. So I got games on the 4th, 5th, and 6th. I'll do 7th, an off day. And then on the 8th, I'll go back to 2-game series with the original ones where I've got Cincy at LA and I've got Boston at New York. So I believe I've got that right. So I'll go back to September 1st. You can see now I've got the 1st and 2nd 2 games at New York and LA. Day off. Now we go to Boston and Cincy for 3. If we need all of those, right? Day off, travel day. And now on the 8th and 9th, we're gone back to the original home team. So that's as easy as scheduling can be. I've just set up a best of 7 for each of these. And I can save that. And now when I want to save the game, let me do one thing too here. I'm going to run, because when I build these teams, I don't typically set up managers. They run a little bit better if you have managers. So I can go up here to my utilities, tools. Let me look around. Where is it? Organize, generate default team managers. And this is where you can go in. I'm going to tell it pitching, position, pinch hitting, create lineups for all. And now that they've got those made, if you click on Cincinnati, you'll see that all these are filled in. They've got depth charts that the computer's picked. They've set up a bullpen. They've set up a rotation, showed the pinch hitters, and then they've got some saved lineups here where they'll alternate getting some people some playing time, right? Now, I may override that if I don't like what the computer's done, but at least they've got those set up. So we can go in here to play. And here we go. Now we can see we've got the first games. I can hit auto. I'm going to hit auto right here and play these games. And I'm going to see if we can get to an interesting point, and then maybe I can get into a game here and play. It looks like we've got 27 Yankees winning that one. We'll play. Oops, I hit play instead of auto. If you ever do this, you can get here and you've got a choice. And if you say, oh, I really wanted the computer to play it, just switch these to computer, hit play, hit yes, and it'll go ahead and sim it. Give you that one. So it looks like Cincinnati won that opener. Go back into play scheduled. Boston at New York. So we had the games on the 1st. Now we're back here on the 2nd. Let's autoplay these. So it looks like the Yankees are up 2-0. We can skip the 3rd, go on to the 4th, autoplay. Ooh, looks like Boston got a game under there. Autoplay this one. Just kind of moving forward till I get to a crucial point here, and maybe I'll play that game. Now we've got Boston up 3-1, potential clincher here. And we go on to the 6th. And I'm going to autoplay this one, and then I'm going to choose to play the Yankees at Boston. Let's have a little fun with this one. I think I'm going to take that Yankee team and let the computer handle Boston. What I like to do, just so I can see the starting lineups here, I'll hit computer lineup. I can see that it's given me Pennick because we've got Shockers already pitched and Pipgrass. I can ask the computer for a suggested lineup. I'll go view opponent and take a look, and they're going to pitch Eckersley. So if you look here, they've already pitched Louis Tiant. Who else has pitched? We've got Rick Wise, who is available, but hey, Fergie Jenkins already pitched, so we got Eckersley on the mound, so I'm going up against a righty. They're going up against a lefty, and I'm just looking to see if what lineup they've got in here. Looks like they've got a good lineup. They're ready to go. Go back here to mine. Set up mine. I'm looking at this thinking I might want Bob Musial in here. And let me put Musial in left. Move my order around a little bit. DH, you can kind of search. I like to use OPS here and see what kind of a DH I've got. I'm going to go with Gene Robertson down here as a DH. And I'll go with this lineup right here. We've got put in Joe Dugan at third. And this lineup I'm going to go with. So now I'm ready. And since I've had a little bit of human interaction with the Red Sox, I can always go back up here under preferences and switch back and forth and change them back to computer. So let's see how this 27 Yankee team performs. I just updated some of these Red Sox fields. I've got this option, which I think is the night game. Let's take a look at park layout right here. Where is it? It's going to be under game preferences. I've got this version. I can also go in here and try this day version right here, kind of like this one. And then I have a third option that I can choose from. Nice when you can set up these ballparks. Okay. Get preferences here, and then I've got an alternate one here that I can use, which is a little bit of a different view, right? The layout. But I think I'm going to go with this first one right here. All right, and I've got it on full screen, so let's play a little baseball here and see how things go. Got Combs up the middle. Oh, we got a base hit to start. Nice. So Eckersley, go back and change those preferences over to computer. And now we've got the computer in charge of that. Koenig up. Got a base hit. Looks like Burleson's going to make the play. Fires it over. And he beats it out. We got 2 on board. Just what you want with Ruth and Gehrig coming up. See how Eckersley decides to pitch him. Ruth takes a big swing and pops it straight up to the catcher here. A tower. Shot. And he's out. And what I notice is that with this, sometimes you'll notice the graphics, when you bring in different resolution, different ballparks, it can affect animation or your video chalkboard that looks really good or is a good flow for you. When you change to a different park because of the resolution, it can speed it up or slow it down. So one of the things I'm going to do here is go to that video and sound, and where my chalkboard is here, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I'm just going to bring it right over to probably about here, and that should speed that up a little bit. Yeah, we got, well, I'll tell you what, Eckersley gets in a jam, strikes out Ruth and Gehrig. That's not bad. Got Bob Musial up. Looks like a grounder to the Rooster. And we've got the inning over. So we got Pennick up. We got a lefty going up there. Rooster leading it off here. Fly ball out there deep. I really like this view, by the way. I don't think I've used this in a game yet. This is from MLB The Show. Park. I like this view of Fenway. This is a nice field right here. Now, see if we can get into some interesting situation here. Got Ruth chasing this one down. Going to make the catch out in right field. Not as bad of a fielder during his prime as some people think, Ruth. Jim Rice, big bat up. Gehrig looks like he should get this one. Oh, he does, but can't get Rice. A dribble base hit for Rice. We got 2 out. Carlton Fisk at the plate. Oh, we got a little grounder. Mark Cohn again. Throws it to Gehrig, and we're out of the first inning. Got no runs, 2 hits for each team. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Again, I talked about this. I do like this option. If you want to play the whole game, it's great. But having the zoom option here to go to a certain specific thing, if there's a pitching change or a runner comes on, or just say, hey, let's get into like the 7th inning and see where we're at here. Zoom's complete. We're now into the 7th inning, and it looks like a 1-0 Yankees lead. So Eckersley's still on the mound. He's got 121 pitches under his belt. Let's see. Got a fly ball out to Fred Lynn in center. Looks like he's going to be able to track that down. Wait a minute. Oh, he gets there. Makes a great play. Bill Dickey, the left-hander, up. Ooh, foul ball. Now, if you play, I like seeing some of the foul balls, but if you don't like seeing those foul balls, if we go under the game, the video and sound right here, I believe right here, limit video extras, foul balls, mound trips, fight right, I can hit that, and now I don't have to see any of the extraneous foul balls, right? But I might miss out on a good mound trip or a fight. But let's turn that on. That's an option you have. You can turn that on, leave it off. If you're trying to speed up play and don't want to see foul balls, there you go. Looks like Eckersley's pitching a gem here, keeping him in the game. Burleson makes the play, looks like. He eats Robertson out. So now we got Pennick up. Denny Doyle, left-handed batter. Interesting to see in a situation like this with him up. Looks like he's got a 3'41" average against lefties. You'll notice Pennick over here in his card. He gave up 316 to lefties. So sometimes that same-handedness isn't what it's cracked up to be. Ooh, but the computer manager says I'm taking Doyle out and bringing Steve Dillard in. Let's see what Dillard can do. Brings a righty in. Dugan makes the play. Gets the out. Fred Lynn up, bottom of the 8th here, trying to get back in this game, down 1. Earl Combs tracks that down. Jim Rice, another big bat up. Musial in front of the wall, and he's got it. So it looks like Eckersley's going to stay in and go a complete game here. Combs is going to get a hit and get on board. Got a 7 base runner. See what he's got. 39% on the steal. Maybe Koenig will get lucky here and move him along. Oh, looks like he does with another base hit. Now we got the meat of the order coming up. Eckersley, in this case, he's got 143. He's in the red. He's way over his estimated pitch count. If I'm playing this game, I don't see the computer manager doing anything. I can always go in here, change preferences, and go to human and say, you know what? This guy should be pulled. Click on Eckersley and look at my options. Another nice thing when you go in here is you're going to see people that are designated as relievers, but if you want to see everybody, click this box down here it'll show your starting pitchers too. In case in the playoff game you wanted to bring Bill Lee in or what have you. If I'm looking whip, I want a lefty in, going to face Ruth and Gehrig. This is my best option, Bergmeyer. The average versus, now I've got Bill Campbell, who's got a really low versus lefty average, but I think I'm going to go with the lefty here. I'm going to bring in Bergmeyer. Now I can change that back to Computer Manager. Let's see what Ruth can do. And it looks like Ruth's going to add on to that lead. Another lefty coming up, but it is Lou Gehrig. Strikes out. So we got 2 out. Maybe Bergmeyer can get out of here and just keep it a 2-0 game. Looks like that may be. We got Evans, who's a 9 out in right field, tracking that one down. So going into the bottom of the 9th for the Red Sox here. Pennick's only thrown 97 pitches. He's been very efficient. See what we got here. Looks like a liner. Straight to Ruth, makes a great play. A leaping grab. Who knew Ruth with all the agility out here? Now we've got Yaz up. Looks like Yaz is going to get aboard with a base hit. So we got the tying run coming to the plate. You can see Cecil Cooper lefty on lefty with an anticipated average here of 357. Not bad, seeing his Pennick isn't that great against left-handers. So George Scott is going to bat. Interesting move by the Computer Manager. I like showing Cooper at 274 against lefties, but hey, here comes George Scott. The computer is playing a traditional lefty or a righty on a lefty pitcher, even though Pennick is much better against righties. So see what Boomer does here. And he gets the whiff. So now we're down to the last out. We've got Dwight Evans up. Oh, he keeps it alive. Big hit right here. Yaz doesn't even think about making that third out at third base. We got Butch Hobson. If I was going here the game, who would I? Let me change them to human and take a look. So if we were going to pinch hit for Hobson, I click on him. Here's my options. Righty versus lefties, average versus lefty. I've got Bob Heiss here, Frank Duffy, Rico Petrocelli. You know, I don't see anything too exciting there, so I think sticking with Hobson may be a smart move. I'm going to turn it back to the computer, see if the computer is smart enough. Let's leave Pennick in, see if he can get this game. Oh, we got a base hit. Out to left field. Is Yaz gonna? Oh, he makes a poor play. Nobody wants to make that out. So we've got the bases loaded, down 2, and we've got the Rooster, Rick Burleson, up. I'm going to keep Pennick in here. Let's see if the Computer Manager lets Burleson go. Oh, we got a dribbler to first. Gehrig's got it. And the Rooster can't come through in the clutch. But anyway, it's kind of fun just playing a game. I'm really happy with this field right here because as I'm doing my 5-year file, I'm going through and trying to set up, you know, all the window dressing, the manager photo, the uniforms, all that. And I'm really paying, because I have tons of files of different pictures of parks, but I'm really going through and eyeballing like the 3 that I like to use for that team and going in and setting up, assigning the right ball parts and make sure their layouts are there, right? So I probably got 20 different Fenway Parks. And I went through and looked at them. I really like the view of this one playing. So I think it's the first time I've played on this field. So this was fun. And we can see a lot less runs than I would have anticipated playing in Fenway with these 2 teams. That's for sure, right? But you can see we've got players of the game up there. Robertson came through in a DH role. Koenig 3 for 5. Combs 3 for 5. Pennick gets the win. We've got Cecil Cooper, who was 2 for 3 and then got pulled for George Scott later in the game. Interesting. See the recap here. Nice. complete, and the game MVP down here awarded to Herb Pennick for pitching that full game shutout, complete game shutout. So it's a fun game. Now, again, I can go back here if I'm running my thing and hit play, go back there, and you can see that I've been able to play, what was it, starting on the first. Click on the first, we can go back and see any of these games. Again, I can go back and say, oh, let me take a look at the box, pull the box score up for that game, look at the recap, look all the good at the good stuff in there. I like playing these teams. These are some of the teams, luckily, I grabbed them that I actually have photos for. And again, I think I talked a little bit about this style of photo that I've been trying to do and create multiple options for each player. I'll kind of walk you through. I've got a lot of those to catch up to the teams I've done. As of today, I've done 83. I've got 83 AL teams and 81 NL on this 5-year file. I cranked out the 2011 to 15 Cardinals within the last day, the 71 to 75 White Sox with Wilbur Wood. They're a straight 500 team, 80 and 80, I think. And then I also did the 16 to 20 Red Sox. So you've got Babe Ruth, where he was coming out of more of a pitcher role, and I used his 18 or 1918 and 1919 years, and that's an interesting team too, because I also have a 1912 to 16 version of that group. So if we go to the 6, we can see the Yankees wrap this up. So they've won their series, right? And Cincinnati won the series right here. So these games on Saturday, or the ones where we're coming back right here, I don't need them anymore. So here's what we can do. We can go back to that schedule. Yep, I know games have already been played. I'm going to go look at them. All these are great. So the games we needed where we're going to come back in those last 2 home series, unplayed. It's asking me if I want to double. I just grabbed them, and I'm just click on them and delete them. Save them. There you go. So now, I would be tracking this off with maybe a playoff tree or some other Excel sheet I've got or whatever. And that's how I've done some small, Final Four like playoffs and run the series. And then you can, track the statistics that way and go in here and see how well the team performed. And there's real stats. We can switch that over to replay stats and kind of see, like to go by at bats, who's tearing it up. You see Ben Chapman batting really good, under home runs. Look, Ben Pichal, 3 home runs. Ruth and Gehrig not doing a whole ton of damage here in this series. But anyway, just another way that you can set up some teams and create a blank league. My idea in creating this 5-year franchise file, and I'll pull up my AL file and kind of show you the state it's in now and let you see the teams I've got. Hit rosters here. Here's what I've got so far. And I'm trying to just categorize them. As I start getting closer to 120, these later teams, there's just so many more teams because there was more teams in the league. I may have to condense these categories down here and combine some of these, like make it 1900 to like 29, and just let all 3 of these slots be for anybody within that era. As I get closer to 120. I mean, gosh, I'm up in the 80s now. I never thought I'd get to 64. My whole goal was, can I get 64 in each league so that you can run like a 128 team tournament? Now I'm already past that, and people are giving me suggestions, and I've got a list now of some extra teams that I may be building. Let me go pull those up. I can share that with you. Where's my baseball file here? So I've got a list over here. And you can see I've got a list right down. These are some of the ones that I'm going to be looking at. This team here I can scratch off because they're done. But these are some other ones that people have given me options for some earlier teams. Some other ones that could be interesting, the Dodger team. This one I can check off because they're already included. Some of the current ones I definitely want to get. I built the first one. I've done, what was it? The New York Yankees. So I've got them 18 to 20 Yankees. I'd want to get an 18 to 22 Dodgers and an 18 to 22 Astros for sure. Then I've got a few other here that I've started crunching the numbers. I just haven't got all the ratings and numbers done to actually start building them. And here's one that I put down myself that I thought, where they've got Mike Scott on that team. Remember the '86 team was really tough. So many more planned to come. One thing I found, I know I highlighted sharing how you can go into a roster, clear a spreadsheet, and edit stats, right? In fact, let me use my test league so I don't mess anything up here. On this one, go to my test league. But one of the things you can do here is we can go into rosters and I can go into edit the batting, right? And if I got all these players here, I can get clear spreadsheet, clear all the stats. Yep, clear it, boom. And then edit my new stuff in, okay? And I didn't save that, so that's why that's still there. Now, I just stumbled across this today. And I don't know, again, I always say I get all these different versions and I just do what I've been doing. I don't explore enough. When I printed out the import data sheet and saw how many fields there were, I'm like, wow. I just went over to here and realized that if we go to organize, transactions and roster tools, it's an easy way to just be able to cycle through all the teams in the league, right? What's nice here is when you click on it, you can go player by player and adjust their roster availability and information here. You also put in their inactive periods. For my 5-year league, I delete any already inputted inactive periods, like if they were on the DL or whatever, and I just have them available for the whole year, right? But here's where I go, I've never even looked over here. I can go and modify the ratings right here. And if I go to modify ratings, this would be what they're initially created with, right? So I'm going to see the photo that's being used. I'll see what ratings they have. I can include a nickname here if they've got it. I can have them display with batters and or pitchers. I could put their height, weight. I usually have their uniform numbers and any known um, the age they were that year, the year I'm using, and you can do that right here, huh? But you can also go to modify real stats, and it brings up this card. And I have never gone in this way to do my entry once I create a player. I usually create the player and then I'll go into that edit batting, edit general, edit splits, edit fielding. But this way I can go in and edit all in one location. So I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I could come in here and erase this and redo it. Or since this is my test league, I'm not worried about messing anything up. I could go in here to Cincinnati, for example, and I can say, I'll usually go to edit and I can go to batting. And this is an easy way. I can clear the spreadsheet. Yep, clear all the stats. Oh, that's replay stats. That's why it's doing. Let me go to real stats. Edit, batting. Yep, clear spreadsheet. Cleared. Pitchers. Edit pitching. Clear spreadsheet. And this was, if you import players, this is where I'll go delete them. If you create a player from scratch, you don't have to worry about it because they don't have anything. Edit fielding. Clear all fielding statistics, not just for the sheet it's showing, right? So let me edit batting for the pitchers too. All right, it's done. Can't keep track of what I've done. Yep, done it all. So now the cool thing is Cincinnati's blank, okay? So I can go in here and organize, go back to transaction roster tools, and I can go to Cincinnati. And what's nice is I can go player by player, and I could pick Johnny Bench here, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to modify his real stats. And I'm going to go in here, and then I can start adding all of this and split that at one screen. It's a little bit different way. I'm used to going screen to the next screen, then doing all that. I can come in here, fielding. I can start typing, okay, at 130 games, 800 putouts, 79 assists, 12 errors, double plays, range, boom, I'll give him a 10. Catcher arm, I'll give him a 10. And there you go, right? And then you can edit it here rather than having to go in the other way. So it's just another option you can do that. Trying to think, batting. So we can do total at bats, say, throw in some numbers here. And you can see that when you put in 500, the game will auto generate historical average for lefty righty breakdown. You can override that, which I do. I go and research it at RetroStreet, but you can see right here, the game's already doing that for you. So let's say he's got 160 hits, 36 doubles, 3 triples. I'm trying to get something reasonable in here, right? 70 walks, got 89 strikeouts, hit by pitch twice, no bunts, and 4 sacrifice flies. So right away, when I typed in that data, it gave me the generic split breakdown, historical averages, right? If I had actual stuff, I could go in here and then put that actual data in there. So it is a little tedious, but what is interesting is I've never used this, is I don't have to go screen to screen. I can get one player knocked out with all their data and then move on to the next. I'd kind of have to change how I do my Excel sheet, but hey, whatever. So he's got 150 versus left, 50 hits, 11 doubles, 1 triple, 12 homers. And you can see it's automatically adjusting for the righties based on what's here. So there you go. So, and it'll break down and tell you what's going on here. Now, these, I could change these ratings or I could generate it, and I'll show you how to do that. The other cool thing is if, let's say, all you have no data. Let's say you're doing a high school league, you have no data, but you know what you want to rate people at, right? You can come down here and determine whether they're average, a little bit below plus plus, and then let the game create stats for you. So if you had a fictional league, it could create the stats, or if you had a league where you just didn't have that stat data, but you know, hey, the person's kind of above average here and there, you can come down here and use this tool within here to create stat lines that the game would need. Another cool thing. Oh, pass balls. Let's give him 2 pass balls there. So yeah, I'm in this game all the time. I love it. And here today, I'm like, what the heck is this? This is a new form I can go here and mess with. So it's really cool. Same thing with fielding stats. You could give them 3 positions, tell them what the range is there, and let them create some fielding stats based off of, you know, how many games they're playing or whatever. So really kind of a neat thing. So we can save that. And then once you have players over here, you could go in here and modify his ratings if you wanted to give him a specific rating. When I build my things, there's some default ratings I run. You can add notes down here if you want to on the player, but they will generate ratings based on the statistical numbers. Some of them are just there for aesthetics. You'll notice what isn't here is power. Power is there because it takes a look at, you know, extra base hits against righty and lefty, and then it gives you that number for reference if you're looking through your roster. It's not used in the game. These are all used in the game. The rating for base running ability, getting a jump, sack, bunt for a hit, and hit and run. Those are all there, right? So after I create a bunch of players, you can go to organize, generate default player, team manager, Steve, click happy, generate default player ratings after you've added a bunch of stats. And since I do my own fielding range, outfield arm, double play pivot, catcher arm, and pitcher hold ratings, I do my own research for that. Everything else, you can come over here and say, all right, let's generate these, a pass ball rate based on how many pass balls they've had for putouts, whether the pitcher's ground ball or fly, and hit generate. And now if we come back over here and look at Johnny Bench, you'll see click on. That's funny. It knocked his runs down there. So I must not have saved. That's why I didn't save the real stats when I exited out. So when it generated ratings, it's saying, hey, he didn't do any of these things. So it created him as zeros. That makes sense. But anyway, I won't belabor this any longer and bore anybody to death. But I just thought this is cool. Transaction roster tool. So it's an easy way to pick a team and then go player by player if you wanted to, um, change target innings for them or be able to do something with that player right here, right? You can create a new player. You can import a player, modify the real stats, do their player ratings right here, um, figure out if they're active or not. It's just an easy way to do some of these things and have all your players and go one by one. So I thought that was kind of fun. Um, some other things I was going to cover. I think, okay, let me pull up back to one of my season files. Let's pull up the NL one. I mentioned the 2011 to 15 Cardinals. I've got all the data crunched and started to build them on another file to bring them in here. I don't have them on this one yet, but this is the NL teams that I've got so far. I've added a couple interesting ones there. I think recently, I'm trying to think what the most recent one I put in here was. Gosh, I can't even remember. They all blur together. I've been doing so many teams lately, which is fun. I mean, I enjoy doing them. But oh, here's a Philadelphia team. I always love this team with Pete Alexander here. Tough with that 32 wins and a 1.39 ERA here, but some good teams. One of the things that I'm doing, again, as you can see, that I'm trying to get a ballpark down here that's period specific. I'm getting manager photos. I'm trying to colorize them if they're available, or messing around with colorizing myself, which gets tedious and time consuming. And as this project's gotten bigger, for me to catch up and get all of the photos for the players with as many, because I always want 3, 4, or 5 pictures options. It's just how I want it to be. It just gets bigger and bigger. Getting the right uniforms for that year that I'm using and the roster as well. So you'll notice as you go through here, I've got the manager photos, the right home and away, the right logo. There's Crosley Field, um, what I got for the Cubs down here. Haven't got a period specific Wrigley down here for them, but you can see this is Chicago's look back then. It's like I don't have a manager for Chicago. Most of these I thought I did. You see there, we've done some colorizing on Pat Moran there. The current teams, I think for the most part, I've got a checklist, like a to-do list. Once I get a lot of these teams created, to go back, double check ballpark, double check that the players are still showing coming from the right universe. So for example, when I click on a player, I want to know that Ken Caminiti, yep, he's assigned to 1996, and I think I'm using the 95 and 96 um, stats for him, and I'll double check that. Sometimes you'll notice that maybe the players weren't assigned to the same stadium. You notice here that Jack Murphy changes to Qualcomm here in 97, so you'll see the players showing that. So I've got a little bit of a checklist that I'll go through where I'll double check and make sure I've got all this set up. But I feel like there's Bill Verdon managing Astros. So again, trying to get the colors and the uniforms and things like that laid out. I've got a long way to go. I don't know how many I've done. Many of these early ones are tough because I'm trying to get really good photos and colorize them if I can. So I haven't gone really early. Maybe this 50s team is for the Reds is one of the earliest I've gone. I don't think I've got Milwaukee's done. I just haven't brought the photos in. There's Brooklyn 39 to 43. You've got a few of those. Leo DeRocher there, and Ebbets Field photo. So just in the last probably year or two, have I started messing around, really just getting the uniforms and photos in here and dressing the stuff up. And it really makes a big difference to me. Enjoyability, right? Playing it. Here's one of Sportsman Park down here. Don't have photos yet for this 42 to 46 team, but you got Billy Southworth, the manager, and the right logos. So just makes it fun when you're playing. Some of the photos, I'll drag those over and kind of show you if anybody's interested. I've got every team I've built, I've got a unique folder for that team. Some of them, if it's the same logo and so on, um, I may not make them. So, I got the Dodgers here in 51 and 55. So I've got a lot of options of photos here on these. So like Andy Pafko here, I've got actually four. Ben Wade, I've got three. Billy Cox, a couple. So I try to get the better players. I try to get 4 or 5. So that way, if somebody wants to use a different photo, again, I like the baseball card style. So for Jackie Robinson, I've got a couple different ones here that I'm using. Jim Gilliam. So you can see a lot of these teams I've got. Some of them I have raw photos for that I haven't started yet. Like you'll see here, I've got the photos compiled and I'm starting to color some of them and look at how the auto coloring comes out, or if I have to get in there and do a little bit coloring myself. And again, I've been building so many teams, and then I'll go in spurts where I'll start doing a lot of this window dressing, right? And coloring some of these. Like here's a original high bell, and then here's one I've got that's got color. So it looks like I've got the pictures down. I just need to get them colored and formatted. When I use my baseball card style, I've got some templates I use. I use Snagit, and I'll go to like my Reds logo cards, and you can see here that I've got different logos for, use a large icon. So I've got different logos I'm using, and then like for the 1960s, you can see here I've got a logo. This will be like a logo I use for a left, and then I have a logo on the right, depending on what looks better with the picture or the action photo, if the logo's on the left or right. So I usually have an option for each. Here's a 50s logo right. The 50s had a different one, so you've got the unique logo for the time period. So again, I like doing this, but man, it's time consuming. So to have a finished product, it's I'm behind the curve. I've created so many teams now. I need to figure out how do I catch up with more of the photos. But that's something that over time I'll be slowly working on for sure with this. Some of the other ones I have here, what I got, my 68 to 72 Tigers, one of my favorite players, right? Al Kaline, some more photos there. So anyway, just a little information on that, how to go in and set up a schedule. I'm going to play around before I even get on here and talk about it in how to set up. In fact, I got to figure out how I would do it. A playoff, right? Or a playoff tree. Interesting. Something I have not done. And I know some people, I think Al Red Sox fan is using an actual playoff tree to, here we go, play a playoff game. So if I go in here, then now here I can go in and set up series format, update league records and all that. I just have not, I've used this probably got to be 8 or 9 years ago when we were in here doing this with some tournaments with some guys that we were running. And I know back then people were trying to figure out how to get it to track accurately and all that. I think now those issues have been solved and it tracks great, because I know when I see a player, if I go in and look at an actual player, it takes a while for all these to load. If I click on somebody, here's Gil Hodges, you can see that it's giving me a line for the reel. It'll track a line for the replay. And it looks like if you run them in a playoff through a playoff tree, it'll track specific stats under that category. So that has to be what playoff is here for. So I'll have to play around with that a little bit and see how that works. But I know somebody had asked how we schedule a game one by one. If you had a small league and you wanted to go in there and create your schedule, you can go out there and create each series one by one. Once it can see all the teams that are in there, like I could go in here to this schedule and it sees all the teams. I could just select, okay, I'm going to start on April 1st. Be awful tedious, though, right? Okay, St. Louis is going to go against this one. It's going to be a 3, and then just start building it manually. Oh, it'd be for a small league, not a big issue if you wanted to kind of vary days off and do it. But I'm a big fan of using the existing template. And let's see, computer generate schedule. If we click this selection, it's going to give me some options here. I haven't even explored these to know. I know I can put an all-star break in, season length, home series per team, preferred divisional games. It's got some notes here. The date we want this to start, and then create. I have not even done this. So I may set up like a 12-team league or whatever and come in here and play with these and see how that works. I just think that template's just a lot easier to use. So that's one thing that I've done. The other thing I know this is for baseball, but I will kind of tease this a little bit. I think I'm going to do some videos because I've had some other people download my basketball file, which is a 5-year file I made available at the Action community site. I haven't done any work on this in probably about 6 months, but this is for a 5-year franchise file. So if you look at the rosters here, oh, this is League of Legends. This is an old file I had. Hold on, let me pull this one up. Basketball 5-year franchises right here. I think I've got 64 or 5 teams done on this one. This was fun. Yeah. So when I get tired of baseball, I'll put it away for a while, then I'll run over here and play doing these. But here's a bunch of the teams that I've got. I haven't organized them yet by era, but got some good old teams. 71, 75 Boston with JoJo White and Havlicek. I've also done, for most of these, probably 80% of them, I've got photo packs done. And I've just started getting into, maybe with Detroit I did it. I've just started getting into the window dressing on this game too. Taking the time to set up the coach photo, the stadium photo, that good stuff. So I've done the 5-year file for this. It's been sitting quiet while I've been really expanding the baseball. I know some people may be interested in this one. This one is available at the Action PC Sports community site. Also have, let me take a look at one of these, and then I'll pull up the photo packs for these. So I think I got basketball photos, basketball player photos, updated photo cards here. Yeah, so I've got a bunch of them here. So here's the 79 to 83 Knicks. And I'll try to do a couple of these too, where I put the logo on there. I just kind of like the baseball or basketball or football card style rather than just face shots. It's just kind of a preference. So for almost all of these teams, probably 80 to 90% of them, I've got it. So even the Kentucky Colonels, I put some ABA teams in here. So you can see here's Artis Gilmore. Got him, Rick Mounts, Dan Izzo. So I've got a few ABA teams in here as well. It's a big Dr. J fan back in the day. So I've got, Dr. J on the Sixers, and I've got him somewhere. I don't have any rhyme or reason to how I have these teams laid out, but I'm looking for New Jersey right here. Wrong New Jersey. Be the New York Nets. Anyway, he's out there somewhere. Oh, there he is. I'll just click on him. Got Dr. J here for the New York Nets back in the day. So yeah, I've got this file for basketball. I'll probably do some specific things on that for people interested in basketball. I've also got it for football. I got this bug in my head. Once you get this bug about doing these 5-year files, it's like a sickness with me. I just get, okay, I've got to do this for all the sports. Nice thing about having the different sports is bopping back and forth. So here's the history collection. So it'll probably take a while to load, which is a great, if you own Action, you don't have days like football or baseball history collection. Oh, they're must-haves. There's so many things you can do with them. So here we go. Last updated was this August. I have not done any. I know there's got a bunch of Patriot fans on following action games and sports gaming, but I have not built any. I've got 3 of the Tom Brady teams I'm going to do. I just haven't built them yet. But these are the teams I've done so far. So I'm getting up there. These are slots for some new teams that I've yet to create. But you can see I even had to get a Billy Sims Detroit team in here and have some fun with that. I'm also doing photo packs for these. And man, the football photo packs are in a different format because they're a little bit wider. They take a little bit longer, and you got 50-ish people on a team. So they're just twice as long to do these as it is basketball. But again, not all that many are done. I think Dallas is done. Let's look at the modern Dallas. You can see modern Dallas. I've got photo packs for the players there. Click on Staubach. It's same approach with basketball and football. I took a 5-year run, and then I'm going to take a player's best 2 consecutive years within that 5-year run and average them to come up with their stat line and their ratings. So you can see Tony Dorsett over here. You know, that's it. It's going to be an average of probably 78, maybe 70. It's either 77 and 78 or 78 and 79. If I'm using 77 and 78, I'll bump it up to the 78. I'll do a multiplier to take it up to the 16 game. If I'm using a 14 game, I would bump it down so that it knows that that player came from that year, the right amount of games, and everything matches up. So you can see here's his line here and his rating. So I'm gonna have to change the title of this when I post it to action 5-year franchise, all of the action games, right? That's kind of a hodgepodge thing I'm doing tonight. So bear with me here if none of this interests you. Trying to think what other teams I've got here. I've got this 69 to 73 early Lions team with Tom Landry, one of my favorite players too, Lem Barney. Like all the number 20s for the Lions, right? Lem Barney, Billy Sims, Barry Sanders. So this has been fun to do. Again, I'm getting the uniforms in here, getting the right player photo and trying to match that up. I think I do have, in remembrance of John Madden here, I've got those 70s Raiders done here, all dressed out, got the photos ready for them. Same thing with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh and Miami I have photos for. So this early Miami team, another one of my favorites. Got those. You can see the running backs here. 2-year averages for that 5-year run. Real tough team here. You take a look at some of the O-line ratings. The linebackers on that team. DBs. Another great team from that era. Where are my Steelers at? Let's take a look at the Steelers here. You can see how this team looks. The running backs, got receivers, Swan and Stallworth. Harder to find good action photos of players. I think I had to freeze frame something on YouTube to get Ernest Poe's deal here. Offensive line ratings, Mike Webster, tough. Green and Greenwood. Great linebackers with Ham and Lambert. And then you got Mel Blount and Donnie Shell and Mike Wagner back there. So fun team to have in here. So that's a little look at the football. Now, here's the one that I started early this year and worked on it for about a month. I had never even decided. This is a game I love actually to play, but I probably play it the least because of all the other projects I have. But that's hockey. And what I did is I brought the 5-year franchise to hockey, and I've only got 5 teams done. And it's from like the era where I was really big into hockey with the Canadiens. Got a Bruin team. The Broad Street Bullies are here. And again, I've got, for each one of these, I've got photo packs for them as well. So you can see here. Always loved Guy Lafleur growing up. And I've got photos here and the ratings. Again, based on stats and ratings based off 2 years that I'm using within that 5-year run for that franchise. This one's fun, but I just said, you know what, let me try this for hockey. And I spent about a month just playing and getting these teams done and getting some of the numbers crunched. And these are the 5 teams I got done. So it's just stopped here, nothing more than these. But anybody interested, let me know and get your email or hit me up on the action forums in the messenger or whatever. I'd be more than happy to send you this file. If you don't, somebody plays a lot of hockey, knows more hockey than I do. It's probably my weakest sport. You could play along with these teams, give me some feedback on that. But got the Islanders here. Again, trying to follow suit with, hey, let me build these and let me stop while I'm in the moment and actually get the photo packs done. Let me get, the uniforms in there, all that good stuff. Bruins. I know we've got Bruin fans on here. And the other thing somebody could look at here is, I have no, setting up the lines and all that. I just kind of let the computer do that. You see, we got some greats here. Phil Esposito, Bobby Orr. Anyway, just so a little bit of information on some things I found out on Action PC Baseball. A little bit of information here on some of the things I may be focusing on in the future, which is going to be maybe doing some dedicated videos for each of the sports and digging into each of the games. There's so much going on with baseball right now that I've kind of steered away from these others, but they're still sitting there for when I get bored with baseball or the season changes. I can run on over here and have fun with one of these and play some games and have fun. In fact, let's run a little exhibition here. Let's take the Boston at home against that Islander team. Set up a game here, October. Set it up for Halloween, October 78. So it's kind of fun just to come on in here. Set it up. Put it on human and human. And I've got it on graphics and sound. I've been playing on the horizontal rink. Kind of like that look. In fact, we'll set it to human. We'll go that way. And you can see this gives us a little example of what the game looks like. Here's the starters. I can hide that, but this is how the window dressing it up, right? Got the logos, got the uniform, got the right colors, and this is how the displays on ice show up. Because I was messing around with this a little bit, Of course, if I want to, I can let the CPU make some line changes and do some different things here. I guess Esposito has control, but again, you can kind of see it'll go up to a point where I've got CPU option here. If I want to go into setup, I can always go back and make it computer versus computer, which I'll do here just to kind of see how this game plays out, and let it sim the whole thing. And here we go. Looks like Boston wins it 2-1. You can see it's got the highlights. We got Bobby Orr had a goal, O'Reilly with an assist. So yeah, have a blast with this stuff. So I'm so into this 5-year file that I'm taking it to everything. The next thing I'm thinking about doing, and I started some work on, is taking this 5-year file approach to pro strategy football. So if anybody here has not, well, I'm just going to be a proponent for every game, right? If you need to buy a game, football, must-haves for the PC action because of how unique it is. If you haven't read the article that was in the Sports Sim magazine that Mark Bozeman did, or followed Mark Bozeman on the Facebook action forum, it's probably one of the best write-up. It kind of made me really appreciate how that football game is set up. The other one I have second and 10, and people will say, well, which one's better? own both because they're both good for various reasons. As a coaching simulator and a lot of the stat tracking and certain things, action football, love it. But SAT is a fun game, and you get all the seasons, and you can go in and do some editing and all. I mean, they're both different, and they both kind of accomplish something different for me. So if you're on a limited budget, it's tough, right? So it's a horrible hobby to be in because my thing is, hey, buy them all and then sort it out, right? Figure out which ones you like. If you can afford it, get them, but they're both must-haves. The other one is Pro Strategy Football. So you can get that on Steam. Kerry Batts is the developer of that game, came from what used to be Tom Landry Football, but he's doing so many cool things, and there's such a modding community that I'm starting to get involved in. And my thought was taking the approach of the 5-year franchise and doing that because they have an all great team, right? That you can get pretty much every season that, but trying to emulate that over there as well. So that might be something I look at doing. So the projects never end. Then my next one for baseball that I'm brainstorming here is, can I create a player based on their best 3 years? Don't have to be in a row, but the best 3 years of their career, and then make a file that just has that on it. Because Action PC has that peak historical career, which is a great file. So I'm not trying to copy that exactly, but I'd like to maybe if I just took their best 3 years. So that would be an extensive project. Who knows when I'd ever get to that, but the projects never end. And just have to deal with it, I guess. Just add that to the list. So once again, hey, thanks for staying with me here. We're a little over an hour. I just wanted to kind of highlight a couple things with the file. I'm adding more teams, let you know that I've got these for other sports, and I'll probably be maybe highlighting those in their own individual videos. And hit me up with, message me or put some comments down here if there's anything you can share. I've learned tips by people leaving comments about things that you can do. Again, I don't claim to be an expert knowing all this game can do. I've played it a lot, and sometimes I have to venture off my normal path to see what all these new features are. And I stumbled across that one today over here where you can go in here and do some editing right here from a different screen, which is really cool. So anyway, have fun out there. If you like these, if you don't mind, hit subscribe here. My goal is to start putting more and more videos up here. I'm going to find some unique games and some tournaments and things to highlight. If you haven't been to Al Red Sox fan, go over there. He's running this baseball file. He just put a series up there that was great between the Orioles 5-year franchise. I think it was the 79 to 83 Orioles against the 74 to 78 Rangers, and he's going to be picking some specific matchups to highlight on there. I know Ron Juckett over at Retro Sports Network ran a couple, the Expos against the Nationals using my file, and I think he did a couple of the some other teams where it was the same franchise against I think he did a Red Sox, older Red Sox franchise against a newer one. So some of these people are using it. I want to start setting up my own kind of league once I get done here and the smoke clears on creating the teams and doing some playing and setting up some mock tournaments myself. So if you got any suggestions for any of that, any suggestions of teams, any feedback at all, or tips that you can share to the community or for me, please be willing to post them. And yeah, I'd appreciate anybody that is interested in wanting to subscribe because my goal is to kind of keep building on this and contributing as much I can to an already great community out there of people. Another guy, if you haven't looked at Beatles Eternally, he's got a great dead ball league, the Ned McGreevy league that they're running. I'll usually tune in and watch that if I'm available. It's just kind of fun seeing some dead ball getting played. You don't see a whole lot of people focusing on that era, so that's always fun. And again, let me know if you've got any feedback. We'll see you next time.